All right, ladies and gentlemen, happy Friday and welcome back to another SLG Meetup to bring you another exciting guest. This day is going to be about personal mental coaching. Now, for that, we have our friend Jason Goldberg. He is a celebrity mental performance coach. And the reason that we're going to bring him on board is because with everything luxury related things, sometimes we lose that sense of mind. And he is going to bring us right on top to know more about what he's doing, which is making personal growth less personal growth. He's a very charismatic, funny guy. He's very intelligent and really understands how to make yourself get to the next level. There he is.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up, Jason? How you doing, my friend? All good?
Oh, man, I'm great. It's so good to see you. And I feel like that introduction could have been written by my mother trying to find me a wife. He's smart. He's charismatic. He's a funny guy. He's doing good things. This sounds exact. Did my mom put you up to this? Is this all a big, like, catfish intervention?
Well, I shouldn't say that. Otherwise, your mother will get mad. But yeah.
Very true. No, but seriously, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate
thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I love your energy, your enthusiasm, and everything that you're doing is so important these days. I was making sure that people really understand that with everything that we talked about these days, which is luxury and, you know, with homes, real estate, the houses, the yachting, the cars, like all these lifestyles that we live in luxury, it makes us sometimes lose the north a little bit. And that's why it's important to come back to the ground, understand what's important, what are the priorities, and self-development is one of the most beautiful journeys that you could ever take on. So for that, we have you, celebrity mental performance coach. Tell me about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just, you know, my whole mission in life, it's a very simple mission. My mission in life is to leave everybody I meet with at least 5% more joy than when I found them. Right. And on the surface, that sounds like, oh, that's just nice. You just want to make people happy. Well, yes. And what I know to be true is that there's a lot of undue, unneeded suffering in this world. And the way that I know that to be sure is I look at my own life and I notice how many areas of my life I still suffer in myself, just being a human. Right. Just because I'm a coach and because I work with people on this stuff doesn't mean that I'm immune from experiencing it. I still experience stress and anxiety and sadness and all these things because it's the human condition. But what that does is that it keeps it keenly aware in my mind that if I need this work and it's my profession, like I'm immersed in it and I still need the work and I still need the reminders, that everybody else who this is not their full-time job absolutely needs to have access to that as well. So my entire thing is taking people who from all walks of life, it does tend to be that it's more entertainers and people in celebrity status now, but it could be anybody who really wants to feel like they want to lighten up, not take life so seriously, still perform at a high level, still be productive. I'm not saying give up all your possessions and go meditate in the Himalayas. I'm saying do all the things, create all the things, do all the big epic shit in the world, and understand how this thing works between the ears. Because when we understand how this thing works, we experience more joy.
Oh, so right, so right. And I love what you just said, because a lot of people, you know, sometimes they get so frustrated and so stressed about their whole life. Even if they're performing at a super high level, they're not enjoying life. So it's about turning things around and really making sure that they can really enjoy the journey, which is the most beautiful thing, because we only have one life. But guide me through the process. So let's say myself, because we work with a lot of celebrities, right? In fact, our concept is to celebritize homes. We bring celebrities into the properties and make them famous. So, and we want to really have a good time while doing it, you know? However, we always come up with scenarios where some people are frustrated with their own lives, and it's because they are too focused or too, you know, narrowing it down to something that is not making them happy. So guide me through a process of how somebody at that level can improve their enjoyment.
Yeah, it's so interesting, man. And it's so funny. Like, this is something where literally I've coached everybody from people who are janitors for a company all the way to CEOs of, you know, 8 and 9 and 10 figure companies to celebrities. And the thing is, if you didn't know who it was I was coaching and you just listened, you would think they were all the same person. Right? So it doesn't change. It's the human condition that we all experience. And so much of this, and there's a lot of different places where kind of how to shift this. But one of the main things is it comes down to identity, right? It comes down to us confusing who we are with what we think. So if I have a thought in my head that's stressing me out or making me anxious or whatever it is, and I take that thought seriously, it is me taking the thought seriously that creates the sadness or creates the anxiety or creates the stress. Whereas we think, and I thought for the first 30 years of my life, I wasn't taught this stuff. I was raised in a household where it was very much, victimhood. And it's like, if good things happen, I'm happy. If bad things happen, I'm sad. And so then I have to spend my entire life trying to create the perfect circumstances so that I can be happy and not be sad. And that's freaking exhausting. Like that's a full-time job, right? And so it becomes a thing of like, how do we create some space in between who it is we actually are and the thoughts that happen to be appearing in our consciousness? How do we create some space there? Because the more space I have from something, the more I can see the reality of it. And we know this very easily. If you have kids or if you have nieces, nephews, whatever it is, if you go to one of them and they're playing with a doll, and let's say the head of the doll pops off, right? And they just start screaming and crying, and they're beside themselves because in their mind, they have equated that life will never be the same. This thing is broken. It can never be fixed. I am completely powerless. I am overwhelmed. And then you come in as the parent or the uncle or the aunt or whatever and say, honey, it's fine. And you take the doll and you take the head and you pop it back on. And the kid is like, oh my God, what just happened? Right? And that's what can happen when we really start to understand, like, wait, just because a thought is in my head doesn't make it truth. Just because a thought is in my head doesn't mean that it's an instruction. Just because there's a thought in my head, it doesn't mean that it's trying to punish me. My thoughts can be things that just pass by me and pass through me, and I don't actually have to do something with every single thought that pops in my head. That's liberating, man. Imagine the creative energy that you would have to do all the big things you want to do out there if you're not wasting all of your energy trying to manage every thought that pops in your head.
So true, so true. It's so funny that you're saying that, because obviously in our industry, in real estate, especially luxury real estate, you're dealing with a lot of stress because you're like back and forth, so many things going on. Even though you manage your own time, it's a time that you can try to either enjoy it or it will kill you because there's a lot of things happening. So I'm sure you've come across people that are in that industry. What will be one of the recommendations? And it doesn't just necessarily for real estate, but in the luxury space in general, right? Because we're dealing with, I guess, so much level of pressure because the demand of these clients that we work with, it's so high that then the stress levels increase as well. However, we are so lucky and fortunate to be in that sphere that we sometimes forget. So I would love to hear from you, what will be like a advice or giveaway for somebody in that space on how to really enjoy more what they're doing?
Yeah, it's such a huge thing. And I think once you get into the luxury space, whether you're on the selling side or the buying side, it can maybe feel like the stakes are higher, right? There's more at risk. And that whole theme of at risk is a part of the problem. Because if I have a belief, if I have this kind of historical, prehistoric belief that anything that's a threat to me, like that everything around me is a threat, right? And back in the Stone Age, everything around you was a threat. We're not in that space anymore. And yet we've brought those same fears forward. And now things that are just uncomfortable start getting words like devastated put against them. I don't know if you've ever heard this before. Somebody says, oh my God, my favorite show was canceled. I'm devastated.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what the word devastate? And I've done it too. Like something happens and I go, oh my God, this is the worst day of my life. Really? It's the worst day of my life because some little thing happened. So it can feel like a lot of stuff is at stake. But it's so important to really slow down when we feel those stressful moments, right? And really, really understand what's going on. Because here's the truth of it. We go back to the identity thing here. I'm going to tell you about this bracelet that I'm wearing here. I don't know if you've seen these bracelets. They're my buddy's company. Do you have one?
I have one, yes. It says,
no way, that's awesome.
I'm not wearing it right now, but I climbed Kilimanjaro with it because my friend Sean Swarner has it, and he gave it all I want. It's amazing. I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, so this is my buddy Chris Pan. It's his company, My Intent.
And Chris,
wow. Yeah. Amazing guy. And you should definitely connect with him and have him on the show as well. And so you can put whatever words you want on the bracelet and kind of make it your own. So I'll tell you what it says in a second. But take this scenario in for a minute. Imagine, Alvaro, that you are the director of the movie Batman, right? Like big budget film, like you are the director. And let's say Batman in this movie is Michael Keaton. I don't mess with the other Batmans. Val Kilmer and Ben Affleck. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Michael Keaton is the only real Batman to me, so I'm gonna go with Michael Keaton. So you're filming this movie. Batman's doing a scene. He's doing his Batman thing. You yell cut, end of the scene. You start talking to your team, and you're getting ready for the next scene. But you look over and you notice that Batman is pacing back and forth on the set. He looks super stressed out. So you're the director, he's your star, you want to make sure he's okay. So you walk over to him on the set, you go, hey man, what's going on? You look really stressed. And he goes, Alvaro, I don't know, man, just I'm really worried. And you go, what are you worried about? He goes, well, what if I can't beat the Joker? What if my technology is not strong enough? What if the people of Gotham die on my watch? How am I supposed to live with that? And you as the director, you're like, what the hell is he talking about? Like, it's a movie. He gets this, right? This is a movie. But you want to be, you're caring. You want to make sure you're taking good care of him. So you have two choices here, bro. Number one, you can say, okay, Batman, let's figure out how to beat the Joker. Let's make your tech stronger. Let's save the people of Gotham. Or you can slow it down and you can ask him a few questions. You say, hey, I'm curious, Batman. Do you remember before you put on the suit today? And he goes, yeah. And you go, okay, well, what happened? He goes, oh, I was in this chair and they were like putting makeup on me. Okay, cool. And what was happening before you put the makeup on? Oh, I guess, well, I drove my car to the set. Okay, and where were you before you drove your car to the set? Well, I was home with my family. Oh, wait a second. I'm not Batman, I'm Michael Keaton. And when he has that realization that he's Michael Keaton playing the role of Batman, all of a sudden, Batman's problems don't feel so serious. They don't feel so significant because he's not confusing who he is with what he thinks or who he is with the role that he's playing. So this is not about ignoring the problems that are going on, but this is literally an exercise that I do on myself pretty much every day. And I do it with my clients all the time. I teach them this exact thing that I'm teaching you guys now is when you get in that place, sit down, close your eyes for a minute. And the first thing you want to do is call out the role that you are playing. And I mean that like a role in a movie that you've been cast in and you know how to play that role and you say it out loud. So for me, I could say, today I'm playing the role of Jason, the overwhelmed entrepreneur. And boy, I crushed that role. I am like Oscar award-winning level being able to crush the role of Jason, the overwhelmed entrepreneur. So I ask myself, I sit here and I say, just for right now, just for 5 or 10 seconds, how does it feel knowing that there's a version of me that's playing a role over there as Jason, the overwhelmed entrepreneur? How does it feel right here, right now, without an attachment to that role? I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm not saying let it go. I'm not saying pretend it's not there. I'm not saying reframe it. I'm just saying without an attachment to that identity, how do I feel right now? Do I feel more stressful? Do I feel more peaceful? How does life feel? And I sit with that for just a minute and I go, whew, okay, yeah. Without me being overly attached to that role, I actually feel pretty peaceful just right here, right now. And so then with that feeling of peace, I go, cool. There's still stuff going on in Batman's world that I want to help with. But which version of me is best suited to help Batman? The one who thinks he's Batman or the one that's in this calm, peaceful place that can say, okay, let's get to work. Let's make some stuff happen. And so that identity shift, anytime you're feeling stressed or anxious or whatever's going on in your world, try that on. And so my bracelet says not Batman. That's my reminder to myself that I am not Batman. So that's something that I think would be super powerful for anybody here who practices it.
Wow. No, thank you for sharing that. That's an excellent exercise. I've never heard it before. So I'm definitely going to try it.
Yeah.
You know, that identity detachment is so interesting. I'll definitely try it out. And,
Definitely.
you know, coming to this point where we've been talking about the different areas on how to improve yourself, that self-development journey, and how to find a way to bring joy to what you're doing. I would love to ask you, because that mindset, it's fantastic, but we always ask the same question, right? What is luxury to you? And it comes in so many different shapes and forms. So I want to know, what is it really for you?
You know what's so funny? I've never been asked that question, but as soon as you said it, I had something just like flood my body with an answer. And I've never thought of this question. You didn't prompt me beforehand, so I didn't have any time to think about this. But what came up for me was that luxury to me means I know that I'm being well taken care of.
Wow.
right? That there has been a level of thoughtfulness, either in the product or the service or the experience, that I will have no doubt that I will be well taken care of. And to me, that's what draws me to anything luxury based, is just the inner peace, the inner knowing that whoever is doing the thing, whatever it is, they got me.
Taking care of. That's amazing. No, that's good. I love it. No, thank you. I mean, I really enjoyed this conversation, and definitely I want us to touch base real quick about your book, Prison Break. When I first saw it, I'm like, wait, Prison Break? The series? What is it? So just give your quick summary about it, because I want to make sure people can tap into it. Where can they find it? Like, what is it about? Tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually funny. So I just came back from the Middle East. I was speaking at an event in Jordan a couple of weeks ago, and a woman came up to me at the break, and she's like, "Oh my God, I've been a fan of your show for years." And I'm like, "My show? What show?" She goes, "Prison Break." I'm like, "Oh." I was like, at first I was like, "Oh, I was going to tell her it's my book," and I'm like, "No, forget it. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been my show for years." No, I didn't do that. But yeah, so Prison Break is really about the idea that it sometimes feels like we are stuck in the prison of our own mind, right? And it's kind of an interesting thing, because while the book is called Prison Break and it's about breaking out of the prison of the mind, at a deeper level, it's really trying to help you to understand that the prison is self-created, right? So we are both the captive and the captor at the same time, right? We're sitting in the cell and we have the key. And it's kind of an interesting thing that we're in. So the entire purpose of the book, and kind of the entire purpose of how I work, is to bring more levity, more humor into personal growth. As you mentioned earlier, trying to make personal growth less personal growthy, not having to be so serious all the time. And so Prison Break was written not as an instruction manual, but I call it a destruction manual. It's literally breaking down all of the kind of thought processes that I used to carry around with me for the first 30 years of my life, being in this victim prisoner place, and how to shift that in the most easy, light, joyful, playful, fun way possible. Because I believe that that's available. I don't think that it has to be deep, serious, shadow, painful work to experience more joy. I think it's really just a zooming out and getting a different perspective on life. And so that's what I hope to do in the book.
Well, that's excellent. Well done. And I want to make sure that people know about it. So please make sure you get the copy of the book. And if you haven't done so yet, please follow Jason at the Jason Goldberg. And, that energy, keep it coming, because we need more. We need more of that joy, that energy, that positivity, and really to help people, guide them towards a more fulfilling journey. So with that being said, if we can just summarize real quick, one takeaway for the audience that they can apply today to their lives.
Absolutely. So I'm going to give you one really, this is not a reiteration of what's been said. It's one other new thing that I want to give to you. So I have a true belief that anything you make the center of your universe, the center of your world, you're going to use all of your energy to protect it from failing or from falling apart. So if you make your business the center of your universe, all of your energy goes in to make sure it doesn't fail. If you make your marriage the center of your universe, everything goes into that to make sure it doesn't fail. If you put it into your parenting, your health, whatever it is, anything you make the center of your world, you will use all of your energy to protect it from failing or falling apart. And so my offer to you is this, my invitation to you is this. It may seem smart to do that, and I'm telling you that it's just not as effective. If there's anything that you're going to make your own, the center of your universe, the center of your world, make it your own experience of peace and ease, right? Instead of worrying so much about all these individual things, really zoom out and say, I'm going to focus on one thing, and it's my experience of peace and ease. And I shared this recently on a mastermind with a bunch of people in this leadership mastermind. And I shared that, and this one woman raised her hand, and I called on her, and I said, yeah, do you have a question? She goes, well, yeah, if I make my own peace and ease the center of my universe, then I don't feed my kids, I don't do my work, I lose my clients. And I said, well, that's possible. That's one outcome. But I know for me personally, if I'm focusing on my own sense of peace and ease, and there are things out in the world that I know that I'm responsible for, and I don't do those things, I don't feel a sense of peace and ease. So when I really focus on my own peace and ease first, I say, okay, what needs to be done? What in the world needs to be created or produced or taken care of? And I go do that. So for anybody, when you feel stressed, you feel anxious, you have the Batman exercise for that as well. But just ask yourself, what am I making the center of my universe right now? And once you determine what that is, that's great. So you have the noticing. And then ask yourself, what would it look like if just for the next few minutes, I made my own experience of peace and ease the center of my universe?
Wow. Thank you so much. That's very, very deep, very powerful. And I'm sure that everybody listening to this today will feel appreciated and empowered to want to continue with their journey. So thanks again. I wish you
Thank you,
nothing
brother.
but the best. If you ever come here to Miami, please come check out what we're doing in here. I would love to have you at one of our venues and, you know, put it like a workshop or something where you can speak and transmit this energy to the people that we work with. So thanks
I would
again.
love that. Thank you, brother.
Congratulations on
Thank
what
you for
you're doing.
having me. Thank you so
And I
much.
appreciate everybody that tuned in today. So take care and have a good weekend.
See you guys. Thank you. Peace.
I'll tell your mother, great job.
Yeah.
She's done a great job. Oh,
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Take care, Jason. Bye-bye.
Bye, man.